Alright, it is smoking day. I already went ahead and cut up a bunch of that beaver meat, getting it ready for smoking. I do have some salt and pepper and seasoning salt with me, so I figured might as well try to add some flavor along with the smoke. So I'm going to add some salt and pepper. This is just a 50-50 mix of the two. Then I'm going to add a bunch of seasoning salt as well. So I'm going to get this all mixed up, and then I'll let it sit for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and then get it on the smoker. Well, it is a windy day today. Beaver meat is ready for smoking. It's looking quite good, actually. It smells absolutely delicious with all those seasonings on there. So all I got to do now is get these racks loaded up with my nice beaver meat. Look at that. Delicious. So we got a fair amount of meat to be preserved. We got more fresh meat that I'm keeping. It's nice and cool out, so I don't have to worry about the meat spoiling or anything, but this should be pretty good once it's done. Look at that. Just a beautiful piece of meat. Nice big one. Maybe we'll put that up on a higher rack so it doesn't hang down too low. Maybe I'll put it up here. So I'm just starting from the bottom rack and working my way up. I don't think I have enough meat to completely fill this thing up. Maybe only 1 or 1.5 racks of meat here, but that's what I got processed earlier today. So we got the bottom rack completely filled, and the second rack here maybe a quarter filled. So we'll go ahead and throw our cover back on. So for burning wood, I've got this willow. That's what I'm burning in my other fire to produce the coals to burn here. And then that's what I'm smoking the meat with as well. It produces a nice sweet smelling smoke. It's not a resinous wood. It produces a nice sweet smelling smoke, and it actually has a really good taste to it. We are getting a little hot here, so we're just going to try and smother this out a little bit. I don't think I need to add any wood right now. Not too much heat coming off of there. So the name of the game now is to let it smoke. Now, this jerky isn't going to be dry by the end of the day, so I figure I can use my stove to dry it overnight versus leaving it outside and trying to finish it off tomorrow. So I'm going to put one post behind my stove right here, and I'll put another one right here. So I put these two verticals more off to the side of the stove versus going directly over top of it. I don't want this meat to be cooking over top of the main heat of the stove. I just want it to run along the side of the stove and get enough of that heat rising up to help dry it overnight. Oh man. Wish you guys could smell this smoke. It smells fantastic. Jerky's looking pretty good actually. Look at that. That's some nice color. It's definitely still quite soft, so it's gonna have to dry more. Oh man, it smells so good. Wow. Let's get all this jerky off here and get it in the tent. We can continue drying it overnight. So for those that are wondering, the reason we smoke the meat is it acts as a preservative and it keeps bacteria from growing. So by smoking this meat, we've ensured that there won't be any bacteria growth on it. But we also want to get the moisture out of it because moisture will allow the bacteria to grow. So it kind of works hand in hand with drying the meat and smoking it. Put that big piece at the bottom there, needs to dry out a bit. That one too. So that is the reason for smoking the meat. Just get all this put on my drying rack here. And then get my wood stove started. Temperature's already starting to drop, it's getting cold. Now I could have left this on the smoker, just kept feeding coals into there and not putting more wood on to smoke it. I don't like to over smoke my meat or else it gets kind of bitter. But I think this is going to work out, and I'm keeping my stove going all night anyways, so I will kind of be doing myself a favor not having to get out of the tent and go make sure my smoker's still going. This stuff smells so good, it's incredible. So there we go, I'll get my wood stove fired up now, and hopefully in the morning we will have perfectly dried meat ready for eating. So this morning, my fire from last night started my smoker, and tonight my smoker is starting my fire for tonight. So that's the same fire burning pretty much for, well, it'll be over 24 hours now. Alright, we are through the night, ready to check our jerky out. I'm gonna assume some of these pieces are done. Absolutely. So this is pretty much what we're after here. We're at the point where when we bend it, it will crack like that, but it doesn't break. That means that we haven't dried it too much. That is a really nice piece of jerky. So let's see how we did here. Wow. I'm pretty impressed with that. We got really good smoke on it. Not too much, it's not bitter, but a good smoky flavor. Those seasonings that we put on it really come through. All in all, that is one tasty treat. So there is the haul. Nice little amount of jerky. I decided to use one of my extra handkerchiefs to hold all this meat. It'll keep perfectly fine. There's a really low moisture content to it, and since it's smoked, there should be no bacteria growth. Plus it's relatively cool outside, so I'm not too worried about it. But all in all, real happy with how this turned out, and I'm gonna have to pace myself because I could eat all this in one sitting probably. That is so delicious. I am very pleased. And now that I know that my smoker works and this drying rack works, I can keep processing through that meat and build up a bigger stash of this stuff. So I appreciate you guys following me along with processing this meat, getting it smoked and dried. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.